Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel Chelsea News Morecambe preview coming later on today. If you do enjoy yourselves, smack a like on this one and make sure you are subscribed. It's a big weekend this weekend, FA Cup third round. I personally love the FA Cup. We'll be live for a watch along on GBFC tomorrow with 6 things we learned coming as well. Today though, in this news video, we have got a hell of a lot of stories to discuss. We're going to talk about Kvaratskhelia, and I probably am going to butcher his name so many times in this video. I should be a professional. Do my research. Kvaratskhelia. I think that's how we're going to pronounce it today. We're also going to take a look at Alexander Isak. We're going to talk Trevoh Chalobah. We're going to give you the latest on Cesare Casadei. And then Liam Delap, who Chelsea are now very heavily linked with this summer. But anyway, let's first of all begin with this from Fabrizio Romano. This came out yesterday. Napoli's formal request for Kvaratskhelia remains around €80 million package. Direct negotiations with Paris Saint-Germain are ongoing as revealed today. Talks underway. Kvaratskelia's camp discussing terms of PSG as they are offering over 4 times his current salary. Now, there's obviously links here to Liverpool as well. I think Kvaratskhelia has been linked with Liverpool before. This is from David Ornstein. Liverpool could consider move to sign Kvaratskhelia if leaves Napoli in Jan. LFC not actively seeking winger, but admire the 23-year-old, alert to situation and may contend if becomes market opportunity. Hashtag PSG and hashtag CFC also among the interested clubs. Now, let's go over and take a little look at this sofa score graphic. As you can see, the last 12 months, we've had injury periods here. It's pretty good across the board. August, 8.4. Average rating, an average of 7.41 for Kvaratskhelia over the course of the last 12 months. He's 23 years old, just over 6 foot, plays predominantly on the left wing. Which, if you watch yesterday's video, we spoke about the Mudryk ban. We obviously don't know what that ban's going to be yet, but as a result of the pending suspension that Mudryk is likely going to have, Chelsea will probably be dipping in the market for another left winger. So, if we take it back to the heat map from this season, this is what we see from Kvaratskhelia. He gets back, does a bit of defensive work as well, obviously playing for an Antonio Conte team in Naples. For Napoli, he's obviously going to have to do a lot of work, predominantly down this left-hand side, cuts inside as well. Total matches played 17, 15 of which have been from the start. Averages about 70 minutes per game. 5 goals from an XG of 4.14. Scoring every 237 minutes. 2.9 shots per game. Goal conversions, 10% of his shots go in. Goals from inside the box, 3 out of 28. Goals from outside the box, 2 out of 22. This isn't ideal numbers if we're talking about somebody who is heavily clinical in front of goal. However, 1.7 key passes per game is good. Big chance created, 5. Expected assists, 2.97. He gets 3 assists so far this season. Defensively as well, ball recoveries, very, very good here. As well as he doesn't really get dribbled past very often either. In terms of these other stats here, successful dribbles, 31%. You get the general gist of things here. But if we bring it up, right, the player value is 88 million euros. I mean, I don't know about this, guys. I'm not sure. You know, I think that's a lot of money. It's not always a guarantee that a player moving from one club, from one league to another one, is that going to work? I love how direct he is. Watching him at the Euros, he was absolutely brilliant for Georgia, a Georgia side that surprised quite a lot of people in that group stage. 23 years old as well. We know that the policy at Chelsea is 24 and under. Otherwise, we're probably not interested, mate. Do you know what I mean? So this is one that I think Chelsea right now, if the Mudryk ban and the suspension develops, if we get some kind of understanding as to what that looks like, how long is he going to be out for? I do think yesterday I discussed this and I said about putting Nicolas Jackson over on the left wing as like a backup to Sancho, having Jackson rotate with another striker, I still think that would probably be my preference in terms of like how Chelsea should prioritise a signing, whether it's January or moving forward. But right now, Kvaratskhelia, he's not been in the best of form. He's not scored, I don't think, for a couple of months. And the rumour is Napoli are willing to sell him in the January window. Look, I think Mo Salah hasn't signed a new Liverpool deal yet. We could be looking there, even though it's not exactly the same position. But Liverpool will be wanting an attacker. PSG offering 4 times his salary, like, it's a no-brainer in terms of the money. But realistically, would you want to go to Paris Saint-Germain over the Premier League? I don't know. Maybe money is the priority. But let's see how this one develops. Let me know your thoughts on Kvaratskhelia, Kvaratskhelia in the comments down below. We move. I'll give you the latest now on Cesare Casadei. Yesterday we were talking about Napoli being in charge of this one and looking like the most likely to sign him. That is no longer the case. Napoli not willing to match Chelsea conditions as they are closing in on Philip Billing deal with Bournemouth. Torino are preparing new bid for Cesare Casadei, including an important sell-on clause for Chelsea. Interestingly, there's never been a lack of interest in Casadei. It's just at this point, like, Chelsea are going to try and get the best deal that they possibly can. The sell-on clause is just in case Casadei really does become one of those players that is a lead player in a smaller club and then a bigger club come knocking on the door. Chelsea want to get a little fallback from that. Understandable. We move into Newcastle sources. Insist there is no asking price for a player they want to keep, but it would certainly take a fee in excess of the 115 million Chelsea paid for Caicedo if Alexander Isak were to leave. Arsenal cannot afford the British record transfer fee it would take to sign him. So, we're going to go back to SofaScore again in a second. The current market value, let me just show you this right now. This is the current market value of Alexander Isak. You can see here, 77 million euros. But Newcastle know, Premier League clubs come knocking on the door, that fee is massively inflated. He's 25 years old, right-footed, he's tall. You can see, as the season has gone on, it was a quiet start to the season for Isak, but had a little spell of an injury here around October time. But December, 8.1, Newcastle are in absolutely incredible form. And to be fair, I'm going to do this right now. We're going to compare him to Nicolas Jackson. This is a more detailed look at the comparison. This is the Premier League this season between Alexander Isak and Nicolas Jackson of Chelsea. 25, Isak, 23, Jackson. He's got 7 centimetres of height, currently 24 million more in terms of market value. If you look at the average ratings, Isak ahead of Nicolas Jackson, average position-wise. You can see here, Isak getting pretty much everywhere. Same as Nicolas Jackson, to be fair. This isn't just to try and put Nicolas Jackson down at all. But if we go through now with the main stats here, 82 minutes per game Isak is averaging. He's obviously a main player for Newcastle. He's played more minutes, very, very close though. Jackson making more appearances. But this is where things start to go in Isak's favour. He's got 4 more Premier League goals so far this season, a higher XG, more goals per game. They've missed 10 big chances each. And then when it comes to these numbers here, passing, expected assists, also Isak higher, but the numbers are quite similar between Alexander Isak and Nicolas Jackson. When it comes to defending, Nicolas Jackson is higher on tackles, dribbles, passed, and clearances. Nicolas Jackson does very well when defending, corners as well for Chelsea. It's not actually that far between these two, but I think Isak probably does just about win it. High pressing, positioning, finishing as the strengths. I think Isak's finishing is something that has improved massively over the course of recent times. Look, if Chelsea are interested in Alexander Isak, I've always kind of been turning my nose up at the price. I've always thought 100 million or breaking our transfer record, spending more than we spent on Moises Caicedo. I've never really been convinced about this one, but Isak just keeps on doing it in the Prem, doesn't he? And I think there's a lot that can be said for signing a player that already has Premier League experience. As well as that, I think Maresca loves Jackson. I think he loves the work rate. He loves the pressing. He loves the energy that he brings to the team. So if you're going to bring a slightly more advanced version of Jackson, Chelsea don't need to necessarily alter the playing style in order to accommodate for Alexander Isak, which is good and also interesting. But for 115 million, I don't know, you know. So we're going to talk now, and we can compare these players as well. This is the latest. Matt Law has said, definitely have an eye on Liam Delap. I would suggest a heavy one. Liam Delap to Chelsea is something that we are seeing heavily linked right now. The Ipswich Town striker, who's having a very, very good season. He's playing for a side in the relegation zone. But the way that Liam Delap was absolutely bullying us showed me everything I wanted to see. A lot of people I've heard and spoken to have said Liam Delap is semi-comparable to that of a Harry Kane, or like the new age version of a Harry Kane. If we compare, I'm going to just get this up quickly now, compare Nicolas Jackson to Liam Delap. You can see here, Nicolas Jackson is winning the majority of these overall attributes that we can see. Attacking, creativity, defending, tactical, and technical. But look, I think Liam Delap has got such an exciting all-round game. He's 21 years old. We know that that does fit the model of players that Chelsea Football Club and these owners are looking at. We want to buy young talents. We want to buy players that can be developed. Liam Delap has also worked with Enzo Maresca. And I think Liam Delap, right, if you take a striker that's doing what he's doing right now at Ipswich, and then you give him the kind of service that would be available at Chelsea from the likes of Sancho, Neto, Palmer, Enzo, the creative players that we have got at our disposal. I know right now it's been a bad run of form. We're 4 games scoring 2 goals only against pretty low opposition in the Premier League. I do think Liam Delap would absolutely kill it at Chelsea. I do. I think he's young enough. He's got that fire. You can see he's a smart, intelligent player. He understands his body. A lot of strikers, I think Jackson as well, young striker, maybe doesn't really fully have an understanding about what kind of player he wants to be yet, which is a big thing. If a striker particularly can get that instinctive nature of what their strengths are and just home in on those and play on those every game, that is how you see top strikers become top strikers. We saw it with Harry Kane in the younger years. When Harry Kane first broke on the scene, he was scoring all different types of goals, getting shots away from the edge of the area when he was playing at Spurs. Much as we hated to see it, you could tell very early doors just how great of an all-round player Kane was going to be. And I see similarities with Liam Delap. He absolutely bullied us. He's big, he's strong, he's a bit of a target man. And if you add in the level of service that he would get from Chelsea, that he probably doesn't necessarily get at Ipswich, because Ipswich spend a lot of their time defending, as they have to, as a lower in the Premier League table side. I think Liam Delap, right? Alexander Isak is an unbelievable player. He really is. I think right now, that would be a dream signing, potentially, for Chelsea. I think maybe a lot of people, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments, a lot of people might even prefer an Isak to a Gyökeres, or potentially even a Victor Osimhen as well. Isak just keeps doing it in the Prem. And Newcastle, this is why Chelsea signing Isak could be great. But also, if Newcastle finish ahead of Chelsea, get in the top 4 and Chelsea don't, Isak ain't coming here. We've got to be realistic. He'll stay at Newcastle if they're back in the Champions League. That's what I think anyway. Arsenal probably can't afford him. Unless other big clubs with big money come knocking on the door. I think Isak to Chelsea, if we finish ahead of Newcastle, get Champions League and they don't, I think it is a doable transfer. But Liam Delap, this one isn't going anywhere. And as Matt Law said, definitely have an eye on Liam Delap. I would suggest a heavy one. Maybe we see it in this January transfer window. And I'll say this, right? A lot of you guys in the comments have been saying, just give Mark Guiu a run of games. Give Mark Guiu starts. This guy isn't at the Liam Delap levels yet. He's not at the Alexander Isak levels. However, watch him tomorrow against Morecambe. I think he gets at least 1 goal. I think Mark Guiu is a serious talent. Just don't think he's ready to lead the line for Chelsea yet. And there have been a lot of questions asked about Nico Jackson in recent weeks. But anyway, Going to wrap the news up now. In fact, no, we're not. We are going to finish here with the news regarding Chalobah and Crystal Palace's interest to sign Chalobah on a permanent deal. Premature ending of the video. If you're still here, smack a like and subscribe if you are new. Crystal Palace are open to signing Chalobah on a permanent deal, but would rather it did not involve Mark Guehi. I spoke about this earlier this week. Chalobah's wages are said to be at around £80,000 a week. There is doubt over whether they could afford more if the player angles for an increase when moving clubs. Would Chalobah expect a pay rise going from Chelsea to Palace? I'm not sure. 80 grand a week's a lot of flipping money. Obviously, I know that I'm just saying this from the flipping armchair or the office chair, the desk chair. You guys can't even see it. It's just the most bog standard desk chair you can possibly have. But look, I think Chelsea, Mark Guehi, I think is a better defender than Trev. I think Trev's a great player. He's obviously still on our books. He's on loan. We could recall him. But I do think Chelsea will be looking to get the profit from selling Chalobah. So I think we would probably be more likely to keep him at Palace and then attempt to sell him come the summer. Let me know your thoughts on this. I think this January transfer window could end up being a very exciting one. It could also end up being dead. Do you know what I mean? I think the most likely, as of right now, we're about a third of the way through the month. I think Mark Guehi to Chelsea, really keep an eye on this one. I think the Kvaratskhelia story that we spoke about at the start of this video, highly unlikely, but the more we find out about Mudryk, maybe. Liam Delap to Chelsea, though. I think watch this space with this one. And Isak has just been something that we've been linked with for a while. Let me know your thoughts on everything in the comments down below. Subscribe if you are new. Make sure you check back later on for the Morecambe FA Cup preview. Come on, you Blues.